Hello everyone, welcome back to day 4 of our Python programming masterclass. So far, we have learned variables, data types, operators, conditional statements, and also strings. So, today we are moving on to one of the most important topics in programming, that is loops. Loops allows us to repeat tasks automatically. Imagine writing the same statement 100 times. That would be tiring and it's inefficient. And instead, we'll write it once and let the computer repeat it for us. And by the end of today's class, you'll understand how loops work, when to use them, and the different types of loops available in Python. And we'll also implement everything practically in VS Code. So let's first understand what a loop actually is. Okay, so a loop is a programming concept that allows us to execute the same block of code multiple times. Instead of writing the same code again and again, we write it once and the loop repeats it automatically. Then this makes our programs very shorter, cleaner, efficient, and very easier to maintain. Now, let's look at some of the real life examples of this. Think about an alarm clock. If you set it for every morning, then you don't have to set it again and again every day. It repeats automatically. And also, a traffic signal follows the same sequence repeatedly, red, yellow, and green, and then back to red. And also, a music playlist, Spotify, and all these days, and it automatically plays one song after the another. And even when a teacher marks the attendance, the same action is repeated for every student automatically. So programming loops work in exactly the same way. It does the repeated work over and over again. uh, why do we need loops? Okay, so now let's understand why loops are so useful. Suppose you want to print the word welcome 100 times. Without loops, you would have to write the print statement 100 times again and again. And that would make your code longer and harder to read, and it is difficult to modify, and it's very inefficient. With a loop, you can write the statement only once, and the Python repeats it the required number of times. How many times you want that to repeat, like 100, 200,000? You can repeat a number of times you want. And one of the biggest goals of the programming is to avoid the unnecessary repetition, and the loops help us to achieve that thing. So this is the importance of loops. Next, the types of loops. Okay, Python mainly provides two types of loops. The first one is the for loop. We use a for loop when we already know how many times we want to run that loop. And for example, you want to print numbers from 1 to 10. Here you know that how many times you want to repeat. That's 10 times. When you know the number of times you want to repeat, then you'll be using the for loop. And the second one is the while loop. The while loop is it is used when we don't know in advance like how many times the loop should run. Instead, it continues until a particular condition becomes false. Like you will set a condition, and till that condition is true, the code runs. Once the condition gets false, then the code automatically stops it. So these are two types. For loop, it is used when we already know the number of times we want to run, and the while loop is used when we don't know in advance how many times the loop should run. So we will learn both the loops today, and now we will start with the for loop. Okay, so this for loop is one of the most commonly used loops in Python. It repeats a block of code for every value in a sequence. The syntax may look new at the first, but don't worry, we will practice questions and all. You will definitely understand how the syntax and also how to use this for loop. And for now, remember these key points: that for loop executes repeatedly, and it's best when the number of iterations, repetitions you already known, and it often works together with the range function. range function, we will study about the range function. Then we will uh, turn to the VS Code, and we will do some coding questions related to this for loop. So we will first we will learn what is range, then we will go to the solving coding questions. So what is range? This range function, it's commonly used with the for loop. It generates a number of sequence. It generates a sequence of numbers. There are three ways to use it. The first is range stop. Here you can see the first is this range stop, and where we decide both the starting and the ending points. Sorry, here I'm sorry. Here it starts from the zero by default, and it goes up to, but does not include the stop value. Okay, it goes from zero and it goes until this stop value, but it does not include the stop value, same as the slicing one we did in strings, just like that. And the range, another one is start and stop. Here we have to decide both the starting and the ending points. And the third one, start, stop, and also step. Here the step value tells the Python how much to increase or decrease each time. Like uh, like in this only start stop one, if you give start as 1 and stop as 10, then it automatically takes only one step, so it will print 1 2 3 4 5 till 10. But if we give a step as 2, like start as 1, stop as 10, and step as 2, then it will print from 1 only the odd numbers, that is 1 3 5 7 9. So that's how this step is used. Every time start will be included, but stop will be excluded, and that step that controls the increment or the decrement. You can do both. You can increment, or you can do decrement, both you can do that. So this is the main thing. And okay, what are the applications of the for loop? Now let's see where we actually use the for loops. We can use them to print numbers in a sequence. We can generate even and odd numbers also using that step value. We can print multiple multiplication tables and all, and we can also calculate factorials. We can create different star patterns, or there are so many pattern related questions. We can solve all those using the for loop. We can even go through each character of a string one by one using the for loop. And there are so many coding questions, there are so many possible coding questions that we can do. These are just a few examples, but there are so many questions related to the for loop. One more thing. Okay, nested loop. A nested loop simply means it's a loop inside another loop. The outer loop runs first. For each iteration of the outer loop, the inner loop completes all of its iterations. And you can think of it like a classroom. Example, imagine there are 3 rows, and each row has 4 students. So you first visit every student in the first row, then every student in the second row, then in the third row. So that's exactly how this nested loop works. For every iteration in the outer loop, the all the iterations of the inner loop runs, then the second iteration of the outer loop begins there. So this nested loop, they are commonly used for pattern printing, multiplication tables, or working with the rows, columns, matrices mainly. You can do so many matrices related problems using this nested loop. So yes, okay. Before starting this while loop, we will understand and do coding questions related to this for loop, because you definitely can't understand just by reading or say watching all this. We will practice few coding questions now. Okay, so let's make a new file for practicing loops. Okay, especially we'll name it as for loop. And yeah, okay, the first question, simple question. Write a Python program to print numbers from 1 to 10 using a for loop. It's very easy. For loop. This is a syntax. For I, that's the iteration in range. You have to print from 1 to 10. You have to print 10 also, so you have to write 11 here because the last number will not be included. And then you have to write print I. Now I goes from 1 to 10 and it prints all the time, like till 11 it goes on printing. First it will read this statement and it will print I, again it will go back here, again it will read the statement, again it will print I. So that's how it works. See, you got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So that's how this for loop works. Now I guess you got the understanding, simple understanding, that how actually this for loop works. Now we'll do some more problems. Now we will print even numbers from 1 to 20. It's easy. We have to use for loop and we have to print even numbers from 1 to 20. So you have to take range and from 1 to 20. From 1 to 20, okay, from 1 to 20 even numbers you have to take. So you know that 1 is not an even number, so you'll take 2, and from till 20, so that you have to add an extra number here, 21. And we already studied about that step. Here we studied about the step, that is the increment or decrement. We have to give step as 2 so that it increments 2 every time, and then print I. So automatically it prints all the even numbers 2 4 6 8 10 till 20. That's how it works. Now let's do another question. We have to print odd numbers, similar for I in range 1 to 20. Print the odd numbers. Here we have taken 1 because we know that 1 is an odd number, so incrementing 2 will give all odd numbers from 1 to 20. And we even knew that 20 is the even number, or else you can even write 21, but obviously 20 is even, so it takes till 19. Okay, so that's how it works. Now another question. Take a number from the user and print its multiplication table from 1 to 10. Okay, now we have to take a user input. In simple words, we have to give a table. We have to print a table as an output, and the number should be taken from the user. So first let's take an input, user input of for the number. Enter a number. You can even mention here int, just in case if this is used for type conversion to integers. And then for I in range 1 to 11, we have to give the multiplication table from 1 to 10. Like for example, if user gives 2, then you have to write whole 2 table. So this is how it works. So we have to take range from only 1 to 11, so that we'll get 1 to 10. Then we have to print. Okay, we have to print that number, and then we have to write into, for example, if that's 2 into 1 is I, 2 into 1, and then equals to the number, it gets like num into I. Simple. and we will check this. If we take 2, see we had 2 table here, that's 2 ones are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. We can take any number, for example you can take 5, 5, 10, 20, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So that's how it works. You can make a multiplication table of any number you want using this. As we are taking the user input, we can get the table of any number you want. Now the next question is, take a number from the user and then find the sum of the first that many numbers, natural numbers. Okay, the first n natural numbers. Okay, you have to take a number n from the user. You have to take a number n from the user. Okay, you have to take the number n from a user and you have to find the sum of the first n natural numbers. For example, you know natural numbers. What are natural numbers? From 1 it starts. So if user gives input as 5, if user gives input as 5, you have to find the sum of first 5 natural numbers, that is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. Similar way, like if user gives 100 as input, then you have to add everything from 1 to 100, like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 and so on. So for this we will this is the input we are taking, and we will take one more variable, total, and give the value as 0, and for I in the range 1, from 1 it starts, and 1 n plus 1, because n should also be included, so n plus 1. Then we have to, total is 0, so we have total, we will use total as total is 0, so we have to add every number to this total. Like total gets added, plus equals to I, this plus equals to is the operator that we have already studied, and then indentation, then print total sum equals to total. So first we will take the input n from the user, and we have placed this total as 0. Now for I in range 1 to n plus 1, total plus equals to I. That means, like for example, this I is starting from 1. So for 1, the I value is 1 and the total is 0. So total plus equals to 1 means total equals to total plus 1. Total is, now it is initial point 0, I is 1, then it will add 0 plus 1, it's 1. Again this for loop go back to its range, because the range isn't completed yet, so it goes back go back again, and now the range will be 2, as it will increment 1 automatically. Now the value of I is 2 and the total value is 1. Again for I in the range this, it will be 2, the total is 1, it will add 1 plus 2, now the total is 3, and again it goes back and it does the same thing. And finally when we run the code and we give a number 3, because sum of three natural numbers, first three natural numbers is 1 2 3, 1 plus 2 plus 3, that is 6. So here's the answer, 6. We can give any number, that we can give 10, it's 55. You can check it through the calculator also. You can give any number like this, it will provide you with the sum of first n natural numbers. So this is how we use the for loop here. Okay, next, yeah, this is interesting and important question, how to find the factorial of a number using a for loop. We will take from the user will take an input from the user, and same as we done we as the above one is sum, we took it as 0, but here we have to take this as this is the multiplication. As you know, factorial, it is nothing but same. Before we have added all the numbers, here we have to multiply all the numbers. Like if it's 5, then we have to multiply from 1 to 5. If it's 10, we have to multiply from 1 to 10. So here we'll take fact value as 1, because if we take 0, obviously that everything will be 0. We have to take 1 as the this is called as the base condition. Or it's always better to use a base condition for loops. And for I in range from 1 to num plus 1, here the here the indentation and the fact will be multiply equal to the I. It will multiply all the numbers. Okay, here we have to write I, not 1, and print the factorial as the fact. We'll run this and we'll take 3, obviously 3 factorial, that's 6, and you can take 5 factorial, that's 120. You can take a 6 factorial, 120 into 6, that's 720. So that's how we can easily calculate factorial using this code. Next, okay, there is a question related to strings and for loop. Here we have to take a string as an input and count the total number of the characters using a for loop. First thing, take the string as an input. So first we will take the string as an input, then we should the thing is we should count the total number of the characters. For example, Python, you have to calculate how many characters are there in Python. So for counting, this is nothing but counting. For counting the base value, we will take count as 0. Adding base value is really important. That makes our code more efficient, and the code will know when to stop that. Actually, this is not a kind of base condition, but this is not that type of base condition, but this condition will help us to for starting the code. This base condition will help us to start the code. For ch in text, ch is a character we will count in text. Count plus equals to, instead of, it's nothing but instead of 5 we took ch, that's it, it's the same, plus or 1 for ch in for ch in text. Count plus equals to 1 and print, that is not the base condition, this is the base value that we are giving. That is not the base condition, the correction is that it's not the base condition, it's the base value we are giving. Total characters are this count value. Okay, here we will write Python 6 characters, and we can also write our name 7 characters. You can write run Python 15 characters. It will also take this spaces also, like here 6 4 3, so 13 and 2 spaces 15. It will count the spaces also, as we already read in the last unit, strings. Now okay, in the last class we saw a question that counting the vowels in a string, but that is done using for loops, so that's why we have skipped in that part. Now we can do that question, counting the vowels in a string. You have to first take a string from the user, enter a string, and then we'll keep count to 0, because you just have to count, so the base value we are giving is 0. And for ch, just like I, we are using ch, so that it's meaningful for character in this string. And lower, okay, we can also directly check it by writing a e I o u upper and lower, but it's better if we first change everything to upper or lower. You can do it anywhere. I'm changing the text to the lower, and then I'm checking a e I o u. If we won't convert it to upper or in lower or any case, then you have to add two conditions, that is uh, lower and uppercase a e I o u. So it's better that you convert it to the lower or upper using that function. And then if we check whether these vowels are present or not, if it's present, if it's there, if ch in it's a membership operator that we are using from the starting, in it's a membership operator, plus equals to 1, and then indentation print number of the vowels equals to the count. If the ch is in this, then it will count 1. For we use the conditional statements here, and also for loop, and also that string functions. That is, first we will go through every character in this text, and we have also changed that to the lower form, and we will go through every character. And while going through every character, if this is also okay, for going through every character, then this if condition will check if that character is in a e I o u. If it is in a e I o u, then it will count 1, and the for loop goes on till the last character. And after the completion of the for loop, then we will print this as number of the vowels and the count. Example, we'll take Python only as the example. Here you can check that there is one vowel, so it prints one vowel. You can also check apple, you have two vowels here. And you can also check programming, here there are three vowels, that is o, a and I. So that's how this code works. Now we will do a question related to pattern. We will print a star pattern. I'll show you the output. Like, we will print a pattern. Likewise, we have to just increment one star at each line, and this should be like a right angle triangle. The shape of that pyramid, it's not a pyramid, the shape of this pattern should be like a right angle triangle. And at every line there should be a increment of the star. And you can create a number of rows you can, but simple. To get this kind of code, we have to write code like okay, star for the 5 rows. Okay, for I in range 1 to 6, because we need 5 rows, so we have to just print the star I times, because the number of rows equals to the number of the star. That's it. It will automatically print that. And next, if we want the user input for this, then here simply you can take num, then you can take user input also, like num, and then here you take I equals to 1, this num plus I 1 to num plus 1, and then run the code. So take 10, you'll get 10 rows, and here you'll have 10 stars. That's how it works. And there is one more question related to this. So pattern 1 1 2, third row 1 2 3, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4 5. How can we do this for I in range 1 to 6? Then here we are using nested loop. Here from the range I from 1 to I plus 1, and print j in end this. Why, what is this end and all? Okay, we will understand. And also gonna print indentation. We're gonna print this. Okay, so here we got the output, and let me explain the code now. For I in the range 1 to 6, I decides the row number. This is 1, and when I is 1, it goes into the inner loop and it finishes off all the iterations in the inner loop. That is from 1 to I plus 1 is 2. Anyways, 2 is not included, so only I is there. I is the value of the j, 1 is the value of the j, sorry. So it will print the j, that is 1, and this end this is something like, it's a parameter that will control, how do I explain? That's a function that controls the character that is printed at the end of the output. Like, it prevents the new lines, and like by default Python actually adds a new line after every print command. So this end keeps printed items on the on this is the inner loop, right? So in this inner loop, on the same horizontal line, instead of printing them onto the next line until that whole inner loop is completed. So that's why we got the one in the one line, single line, and it goes back to the the outer loop, and here now I value is 2, then it comes to the inner loop. Now it's from 1 to 3, it has two values, that is 1 2, it prints 1 2 on the same line. For example, in this quotation marks, if we add some space, then you can see that you got some space. If in this quotation marks you give some space, if you give some space and star and some space, so you're gonna get 1 star space star, 1 space star space 2, and so on, like this. That's how this end works. But right now we are not giving any space or anything or nothing. So okay, but what if we want to take the input from the user, the number of rows that we are printing, we want to take the input from the user, then enter the num of rows, so it's num of rows, and then for the outer loop you just have to change it, that is rows plus 1, and the j, it will be the same, because see, the inner loop, it will be the same, because here we are just changing the rows, but the inner loop, it always prints the range from 1 to the outer loop range. Like if it goes till the range 6, then the inner loop will behave in the same way, that is from 1 to 6 it will print all the 5 numbers. So that's how the inner loop works, so there will be no change in the inner loop. For example, if I take 6, We'll get till 6. If I take 10, so you'll get from 1 to 3. The last row it contains from 1 to 10 and all. So practice more and more for loops, nested for loops, and all from uh, ChatGPT AI or anything, because there will be many questions and we cannot solve all the questions. So just after the class, solve as many questions as possible. And yeah, there's one more question. We have to take a string from the user and print the reverse. Okay, we need to reverse the string, but not as the method that we used in the last class. We have to reverse the string using the for loop. So we'll take text input, enter a string, and then we will have to reverse it. So we'll take one more variable which contains nothing. And for ch, as we know, we cannot modify the string. We have to take one more string. We can create one more string with the modifications we want, but we cannot change the string that we have because strings are immutable. So we are using for ch in the text. Reverse will be that ch and plus that reverse. That's it. And we'll print reverse string will be the reverse part. So if you understood here, for ch in that text, the reverse will be that ch and plus the reverse that we have added. So if we give Python, then it will reverse the Python. This is how we can reverse using for loop instead of the strings. uh, okay, now let's get started with while loop. Okay, what is the while loop? The second type, it's the while loop. Unlike the for loop, a while loop doesn't depend on a fixed number of the repetitions. Instead, it runs as long as a condition is true. The moment the condition becomes false, the loop stops automatically, and we generally use a while loop when we don't know how many times the loop should run. For example, if we check any login page, then the program keeps asking for the password until the user enters the correct one. Here we don't know how many attempts the user will take. So this is how a while loop will be used. These are the applications. And if we see for loop versus the while loop, so both loops are used for the repetition, but they have use uh, they are used in different situations. Like for a okay, for loop, when you know the number of the iterations beforehand, like printing 1 to 10 or name of the 30 students, 50 students, like that. And while loop, when we don't know, it depends upon the condition that we give them. For example, keep asking for the password until the user have entered the correct password. Here we don't know number of the iterations. And keep reading the input until the user chooses to exit. So there's no better rule here. You choose the one that fits your problem. There's nothing better here. Both are very best in their own ways, and you have to choose where to use which loop. So if you want a tip, like, you can remember it this way, that for loop fixed, while condition. For ff, you can just remember it like for fixed and while conditions, like that. And break, okay, this is important. Break, sometimes we want to stop a loop before it finishes all its iterations. So Python provides a break statement. Python encounter When the Python encounters this break, then it will immediately exits the loop. any remaining iterations that are there, all those are skipped. And imagine that you are searching for your friend in a classroom. Then the moment you'll find your friend, you will stop searching the next rows. Like, you don't continue the checking in for all the remaining students on all the rows, right? The same way, this break, it works exactly the same, like searching for a name in a list. You'll have a list of 50 people. Once you find the person you want, then you'll stop searching for the rest of the people. And stopping a program when the desired result is found, this break statement, it's used. And next comes the continue statement. So this is one more useful statement. Unlike the break, this does not stop the loop. Instead, it just skips the current iteration, and it moves to the next one. Like, imagine your teacher is taking an attendance, and one student is absent. The teacher skips that student, but she'll continue calling the next roll numbers or the names. So the attendance process doesn't stop, right? So it's exactly how the continue works. It will ignore that iteration only, and it will continue the next ones. And okay, here comes the third statement, that is pass. So, unlike break and continue, the pass does not perform any action. It's simply a placeholder. Like, programmers often use it when they plan to write the code later, but they don't want the Python to show any error. That's why they use this pass statement. Think of it like leaving a blank paper in your notebook, just because you want to write something in future over there, so that you will leave that blank paper. So this is how the past statement also works. That paper exists, but there's nothing written on it yet. In future, it's just used, kept like that for the future use. So okay, these are the most common beginner mistakes we always discuss. That is incorrect indentation and the missing colon. That's the mistake everyone does that same mistake. And even me, you using the wrong range values. Sometimes if you use the wrong range values, it can go up to the infinity loops and it will crash. And yeah, infinite loops, that's what. And forgetting to update the variables in the while loops. If you forget to update the variable, then that will be an error. So we will now do some questions related to this while loop. Okay, so here we created a new file for while loop. So we'll quickly do the questions. First we will, okay, there are some questions that you can actually do using the for loop concepts. So we will be skipping them. uh, for example, printing from 1 to 10, printing numbers, or printing some even numbers from 1 to 50. And some of the numbers, multiplication table of the number, all these I guess we can do it, counting the digits in a number. We will just do the main questions, that is how to reverse a number. This is important. We'll take an input from the user and enter a number, and then we will take one more variable, reverse, that stores the reverse of this number. And while this num, it's greater than 0, this is the condition that we are providing, the while condition. Then the digit, this is new variable. Okay, we will complete writing code and then I'll explain it. Into 10, and just add this digit. Then this num equals to num, this floor division. And at the end we'll just print, we'll just print the reverse equals to the reverse. Okay, so we'll just run and we'll just check. 1 2 3. Okay, we got the reverse, that is 3 2 1. So actually we have taken a input that we understood, and one more reverse where the reverse starts from 0, that's the base value of the reverse. Then while num is greater than 0, that's the condition that we have given, digit equals to this modulus num modulus 10. Here it stores the remainder of this number that we are taking. Here the number is 1 2 3, so the digit the remainder will be 3, and reverse it is 0, so 0 plus digit that will be 3. So till here the reverse is 3, and num floor division 10 we will get it as 12. So we will go back to the while loop and we'll check whether that is greater than 0 or not. Yes, it's greater than 0, so that's why we will again get the remainder using this digit. Here we'll get remainder again as 2. Here we have reverse value as 3 before, so if we multiply with 10 we get 30 plus the 2 remainder, that's 32. And here by doing the floor division for 12 we get 1, and again it goes back to this while loop. Here 1 is also greater than 0, so here we will get the remainder, that is 1. And here we have 32 as reverse, we will multiply 10, that is 320. 32 changes to 320 plus the remainder we have is 1, now it's 321. Now doing the floor division it gives and checking here, the value of num right now it's not greater than 0, so that's why this while loop stops here, it ends the while loop, and at the end it gives the reverse as 3 2 and 1. You can check any number you want, for example 1 2 3 4 5. It gives the reverse of your number. And there is one more question that we can do using this concept, reverse concept is that checking whether a number is palindrome or not. We'll just copy this code here, taking the palindrome is nothing but the number will be the same, writing in the original and also in the reverse way the number looks the same. So here we are taking input and reverse is 0. We are taking one more variable as original and storing num, because here we are modifying num, so it's better if we first store that number into some another variable original. And here no need to print the reverse, we will check that if this original that is equals to the reverse, then colon is important, those are the common mistakes that we discussed. Then we need to print the is palindrome, or else we have to print not a palindrome. If we check 1 2 3 4 5, it's not a palindrome. If we check we'll clear the terminal, if we check for 1 2 3 2 1, then that's a palindrome. Here we are checking only for the numbers. So in the strings concept you can also check for any string like a race car, like that. And next question, we will find the factorial of a number. How to find the factorial of a number? We'll just take a number, input, just enter the number, then fact, we are giving the initial value as 1 and we are taking one more variable I, and then while this I it is less than equal to num, then the fact will be the fact into the I, and we need to give the increment to this I, or else it will stay in the same iteration. But in the while for loop it will automatically take the iteration, but here we need to give, and here the factorial of 5, it's 120. Factorial of 3, 6, and 6, 720. We'll move on to the next question, that is guess the number game. Here you can keep some numbers, some secret number, and then go and ask your friend to guess that number. If that number is wrong, then it will provide you that it's the wrong guess, and if they guessed correctly the secret number, then you'll print correct guess. You'll keep a secret number as I'm keeping my secret number as 5. Then you can take the input from your friends to guess the number. So just tell them to guess the number, and then while guess is not equal to the secret, then you have to print that wrong guess. And guess will be now again int input to take input again, try again. Here they can give you another input again, and now if it is correct, then correct guess. We'll run this code. So our secret number is 5. If your friend guesses it as 8, then that's wrong answer, try again. Then we'll guess it 9, that's wrong, try again. 3, try again. 4, try again. And if he or she guessed it as 5, then that will be the correct guess, and the program ends there. Now one more last question we are discussing in this class, that is Fibonacci series. I guess you know what is Fibonacci series. And so we'll take a number and we'll take a as 0. This is just the way that we solve the Fibonacci series. And while I is less than equals to n, we have to print a and then end this. I guess we learned in the last we learned before that what is this end, what does this end does. And here a equals to b and b equals to c, and we have to give the iteration also. Here if we write 5, then we get 0 and 1 as the first, then it will add 0 and 1, next number will be 1, 1 plus 1 2, 1 plus 2 3, and it goes so on. For example, if we write 10, if we give input as 10, then 0 1, 0 plus 1 1, 1 plus 2 3, 3 plus 5 8, 8 plus 13 21, 21 plus 34, okay, so on, while adding these numbers. So we are done with our programming practice questions for the while loop. You can practice so many questions. There are so many questions in while and for loops. You can practice a number of questions. And okay, we will do some questions related to break, continue, and past statements. That is okay, we can do some questions related to break, continue, and past statements. That is, like, for example, for I in loop, for I in range 1 to 10, if I plus 2 equals to 0, break and then print I, will run, check, save. We have 1 as the output because the second number is divided by 0, so That's why if we write continue here, that's why we got the output as 1, because the code has stopped there. If we write continue, then it continued that iteration where the number is even, so it only gives the odd output, that is 1 3 5 7 9. And if we write pass, then it is just for the future use, so there's no effect on the code right now. So you can practice a number of questions you want. And yeah, so that's it for today. So just practice questions for while loop and for loop and the while loop. Okay, so congratulations. Today we have learned one of the most important concepts in Python, that is loops. Like what are the loops, where the loops needed, the for loop, while loop, how to give range, nested loops, break, continue, and pass statements also. These are the foundation for writing efficient programs, and that's where you'll truly understand how the loop works only when you start practicing the programs. So practice every example yourself after this class. And in our next lesson we will learn about lists in Python, where we'll start sorting and managing collections of the data, where we will play with the data. So thank you for joining class today. If you really liked my content, then you can like and share it with your friends who are interested in learning Python. So we will meet in the next class. Till then, happy coding.